So I thought I would do like a little channel update here, just because I haven't uploaded anything in a while, so why not? It's July 4th here in the US, so you may hear fireworks and or gunshots in the background. Don't be alarmed, it's just American things. But I'll show you what all's going on around here. So basically, since you last heard from me, or a little bit before that, my life has become extremely hectic. But I'm still going to try and get some videos out now. I'm trying to make it more of a priority. So here's where all the various vehicles are right now. Yugo is where you last saw it. It was rolled off because I wanted to do a clutch in the Festiva here. But now it's back on. I am in the middle of filming a video on that. Right now I'm working on the brakes, waiting on some parts. That's why I'm not filming that right now. I was hoping to have that running and driving this weekend, but, well, need parts. So more on that later. Like I said, I did a clutch on this old Festiva here, which actually is still sitting here. And I'll show you it because it's hilarious. There's the clutch disc from a Ford Festiva. Yeah, that's it. I think it's like an 8-inch, no, it's not, what am I saying? It's not remotely an 8-inch clutch, it's like a 6.5-inch clutch. And then there's the disc, or the pressure plate and the flywheel and such. But yeah, that's the pile of junk from that. Axles were shot, so put that in it too. It's in here now because I'm about to do a valve cover gasket on it because it burns so much oil. It's ridiculous. So yeah, that's not terribly interesting, but there's the powerhouse. I already told you what's going on with the Yugo there. Let's see what else we got going on here. Anything of interest? Here's like my small engine corner from hell. So there's like stuff happening there, but nothing of too much interest. The only thing currently being worked on is this Cub that I bought middle of winter, because I wanted the snow blower, but I couldn't buy that separately. I had to buy the whole rig. And I'm waiting on a breather PCV setup for this, and hopefully that means the engine isn't shot, because it burns a whole bunch of oil and has a whole bunch of blow-by. But I found the breather was bad, so let's hope for the best. But yeah, that's about all of interest in here. Let's see what's going on in the outside. Nothing really to say about the Loyale. I just drive it because it has frosty R12 AC. And if anyone can explain to me how a hood rusts there, that'd be incredible. I mean, the rest of it I can understand, but like, that's a little ridiculous. So here we are in the original garage at my house, the stone garage, before I built the pole building. And here is my 1968 Chevelle. I know a lot of people that became subscribers like in the last few years probably don't even know this thing exists. And they're probably shocked that I actually own this thing. This was my first car I bought when I was actually, I don't even know if I was 16. I was either 16 or 15 when I bought this. Back before muscle cars were expensive. So yeah, this was a while ago. And then Bear Jackson came out and that was the end of that. So I've actually owned this like since high school. It's nothing too special. It's a 350 engine, TH250 trans. It's manual everything. Not the transmission, but manual brakes, manual steering, four-wheel drum. Not too much to say about it. I mean, I had this painted like when I was like 18. It's starting to show its age, the paint job. Like it needs to be redone again. The clear coat's kind of fading and it's starting to rust around here and stuff again. This is the fun of owning a car in Pennsylvania. The interior needs some work. I have the factory bench seat in the other garage that I want to put in this because these are like Camaro buckets of some kind. But I have the actual bench that belongs in here. I'm going to dye it black and put it in. But yeah, there's not really too much to say about this. I do have a video on my channel of it running and all that stuff. The engine runs good for what it is. The car ran like 1270s. I think it's best, like it runs about 110 miles an hour in the quarter. So for an iron-headed 350, it actually is like pretty strong. I know it's not fast by today's standards, but like I said, for what it is, it's not bad. So I should probably work on this some point, so maybe you'll see this again soon. Here is my 1970-something Firebird that I think we put together. It was either last fall or the fall before. It's kind of terrible, I can't even remember that. But it went together pretty quick. It was built from the spare parts I had laying around for the most part. So it went together pretty cheap. It's a 350. Ended up being a TH250 trans. It has an 8.5-inch 10 bolt in the rear with, I think it's a 373 posi by the VIN code. Not the VIN code, but the tag on. It has a GT45 turbo blow through on like a homemade blow through carb. This was going real good until one day I went to start it. On the actual day we wanted to like do something with it, and it would not stay running. So I really don't know. I'm hoping that it was just a carburetor that somehow just spontaneously shit, but there is a possibility that the cam like went south because it is a hydraulic flat tappet. Now, I mean, it's been running for years, so it's not too likely it just decided to just completely knock a lobe off, but it's possible. Oh, and it developed antifreeze from somewhere. I'm guessing the water neck. That didn't do that before. So yeah, I had to get this up in the air, figure out the engine situation. I have another carburetor for it, so if it's that, I can always roll that out. And then the shift linkage is all screwy. I got to address that too. But this, I mean, this thing's a pile of shit. But I was hoping to do some like off-road style racing with it. It's got like old school snow tires all the way around and stuff. Like, it's pretty ratty overall, but it is what it is. Just wanted to go beat it in fields or do some dirt drag racing with it or something like that. And this was basically the cheapest rear-wheel drive car that I could find in my area when I bought it. So yeah, we'll eventually have more of this car. More Cub Cadet shenanigans. This is the tractor I got running again this winter to plow my driveway. So it did a good job, minus the hydro leak. It's all good. The wider plow I got from another tractor. And then the snow chains, but the snow chains are like, those are like the MVP. I didn't think they make that big of a difference. Just those on the tractor, there's no water in the tires, there's no weight on the back or anything. This thing was a monster with those chains on it. Like, it was plowing like 8 inches of snow, no problem, not spinning, shoving it. So like, those are the greatest thing ever. This was like a 4-wheel drive truck. I can't say enough good things about the shitty tire chains. This was the turbo diesel Cub Cadet that I built a few years ago. I never really did anything with it, and I wasn't really happy with how it turned out as far as the model of tractors. I use a narrow frame, so I had to butcher the frame rails you can see here to make the engine fit. So I'm kind of just cannibalizing this. I'm either going to sell or scrap like the skeleton here of it. I have it for sale right now, but if no one buys it, it's going in the old scrap heap. I did keep the engine and setup out of it, so that will be used in something probably. Here is another Cub 1450 that I just happen to have, same as the first one. It's just in much better condition. It might not look like it, but it's actually like really nice, except for that. But there's no engine. The diesel may end up in here. I may end up combining both the Cubs and making a nice one. We'll see. And then there is a random snapper back here. For some reason, last summer, I had 4 of these Forrest Gump snappers here. I don't know why or how that happened, because I don't even really like them. But at least I got rid of most of them. I'm just down to 1. So I just got to fix and sell this one, and then I'm rid of these things. Here is my 1973 Chevy C10. Over the past 2 years, I'd say, I put a 4.8 liter LS in this, 4L80 trans. It's lowered 5 inches all the way around, has vintage air AC, so it's got some good stuff under it. I don't really drive it much because I'm having a problem with the drive-by-wire setup in it. Not every once in a while, it actually happens every time you drive it now. The throttle pedal just completely dies, and you have to restart the truck, or let it sit a few minutes and restart it. I've changed a bunch of parts, and I haven't been able to figure it out, so I have it down to a problem in the harness, which kind of sucks because it's a new harness too. But I have to address that, and then it also probably needs a torque converter. At the very least, it might need a whole transmission rebuild, but I do still have the truck. I haven't been driving it that much for those reasons, and because of how expensive gas is. Not that this is bad on gas, but the Festiva gets like 40 miles per gallon, and the Subaru gets like 23. So this is still a gas guzzler by those standards. But I have to address that, and then I'd really like to put an interior in it, because the interior is kind of trashy and there's no dashboard and stuff, just to make it more livable. Without the carpet in it, it just radiates like so much heat through the floor. It sucks to drive in the summer. So yeah, we'll be working on this again soon to fix all the issues. here's my 94 Yukon two-door. I probably haven't even mentioned this on my channel in like maybe 10 years. But I do have this. This I bought right after high school. So I think it was either when I was 18 or 19. So I've had this like 20 years. Not too much to say about it because I mean pretty much it just runs and does its thing. I did put a new engine in a few years ago. Put a rebuilt transmission in a few years before that. But it does need some work, but you know, it's kind of like livable as is, so I just kind of deal with it right now. Same thing as the other things, I don't drive it much. It was my daily driver years ago and I racked up a ton of miles on it. So I'm kind of trying to keep it nice because these things like skyrocketed in value. So I do want to fix a few things wrong with it and just hold on to it like for a nice vehicle. But yeah, that's about all there is to say about that. A few people do know about this, probably people that I know in person. But a lot of people on the channel probably don't even realize this truck even exists. Here is the 78 GMC C2500, I think technically it is. It's a 3/4 ton two-wheel drive, 454 engine, TH400. This is like my tow vehicle. Not too much to report on this, like mechanically it's fine. Every time I want to use it, it runs and does its thing. Air conditioning works. It's all pretty good. Just needs body work, which I keep saying I'll eventually get to, and I probably won't. As you can see there, typical Pennsylvania things. But, like I said, not too much to report on this because it just kind of does its job and pretty much sits around for months at a time until I need it. Last time it was used was in fall to bring this tractor home that I bought because for some reason I thought this would look good in my yard. So I'm just waiting to unload that and then I'll have use this truck again. Like I said, I've only had it on the trailer since like November. It's July now, so, you know, there's no rush. Best feature of this tractor, though, is the free tree that came with it. Here is the square body rollback that I bought last fall, maybe? Nothing has happened with this, really, since I bought it. The overheating issues that it had in the video are fixed. All it was they didn't bleed the cooling system properly. I should mention this has a 6-liter carbureted engine in it. MSD, like Quirl control box, stuff like that. Still the factory SM465 4-speed manual trans. The big issue with it is that the clutch is just this wildly engineered contraption that they put in it. Like the clutch pedal is home built. It goes to like a trailer master cylinder, to some braided line, to, from what I can tell, is like a universal internal slave that doesn't work. So the clutch is out on it. And I was just going to put all factory stuff in it, but the problem is that the slave cylinder, the factory slave cylinder for a hydraulic square body is going to hit the headers they have on it. And apparently this is an issue when you do an LS swap in these trucks, I found out. So I found a adapter bell which moves the slave cylinder to another location, uses like a Jeep slave cylinder. So then you have exhaust clearance. So I'm going to eventually order that and put it in it and then see if we can actually use this thing. Because it actually costs like a whole lot of money just to be sitting around here, and I would like it to do something. You thought I had enough tractors. You thought wrong. Let's not talk about that one. But that is a some year John Deere 140 H3 that I have to eventually restore. You know, eventually. And then there is a 60-something John Deere 110. That same thing eventually I have to get around to restoring in all my free time. So there you go. That pretty much covers everything that I own, at least in this property. The only exception is the Winnebago, which isn't the LS one, it's the short one with the 318. That's at my dad's house. That I listed for sale. So if anyone wants to buy that, it would be great. So I can't wait after I just said that to get messages 5 years from now, people viewing this video asking if it's for sale. And then I also technically own the 59 Ford tow truck that sits in front of my garage, but whatever, that's a technicality. So yeah, I'm going to at least try and upload some kind of update video every month, just so that people are aware I'm still alive and whatever. But there's going to be a Yugo video soon. I think I'm going to make a video on that snapper so I can actually get it running and get rid of it. And then after that, we'll just see what happens. Probably the biggest priority is probably that rollback, just so we can get rolling. So then, yeah, that might be the next car you see on the channel. But yeah, just checking in. Hopefully there'll be more soon.